There we go. Hey, Martin. We didn't get in till late tonight. Had to run to Lowe's and a little bit everywhere else, so it's dark. So I'm in here in my bedroom. I don't know how else to do it other than with a camera and then take it and put it in there and put it through the thing. That episode with the cave, that we've done that several times before. Back when we had when my cousins had a dairy. I never had a dairy, but when they had a dairy, the cows that are up there now, they're beef cattle. A lot of people buy them, grow them up, sell them, but we keep our own cows. They have the calves, and then we sell the calves off of them, which isn't as much money. That's the way it used to be done here. Not as much money in it because you have to feed the cows over the winter time. And so what we do is we bring in the hay with no more land than we got. We raise what we've got, and we end up buying hay off of other farmers. That some of the farmers, they just do hay. They don't have any cows or horses or any livestock. All they do is just do the hay. We get them up to a certain size, then we sell them to what's called a stock barn, and the stock barn turns around and then they resell them and they sell them to feedlots. We keep one ourselves because here in the States, all beef gets injected with a bacteria, according to the USDA, and also nitrates, a couple other chemicals too, probably, and some dyes. So we get our beef, we take one of the cattle over to a slaughterhouse, and they kill it and cut it up like we want it cut. And as long as it's our cow coming to us, and we're not reselling it back into the public, we don't have to have any of that junk put in it. My cousin used to have a dairy. He'd milk probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. He'd milk around 6 that evening, twice a day. Back when I was a kid, my great-grandparents had a dairy, and they milked 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Usually by 5 they were done. It's usually about 4 every morning they'd go milk. They'd walk down to the milk barn and they'd walk back. And then I don't remember what time they milked in the evenings. And they were hand milkers. Of course, my cousin, he had electric milkers where you just put them on the cow teats and you know, they put them on, take them off. He closed his dairy down. His dad was actually the one that started. He died of pneumonia, I'll say 10, 15 years ago. And his brother had started it with his dad, and his brother was murdered back in 82, I think. 82 or 83. I believe it was 82, and then Annie died in 83. They had a dairy. They had a great big dairy barn when I was a kid, and some people burned it down. So we built a block barn, just a small, big enough to get the cows in, milk, and contained his cooler and his equipment. Which he, you know, it got to where the regulations and all that junk, they basically come in and paid him for a year not to milk and to get rid of all of his cattle and equipment. So he got rid of most of his equipment, got rid of all of his milk cows, and went with beef cows, which his cows are the ones that, I don't know if you can see him in any videos. We can see his cows from where we live, but he can't. He can see our cows from where he lives because he's on the other side of the street. But we can't, unless it's winter and the leaves are all gone. Then we can see them. Lord, when he had a dairy we even took one time, and we couldn't pull the calf for the life of us, and we've cut them up inside the cow and brought them out in pieces. We hooked a four-wheel drive vehicle to one time and pulled it. Of course, we lost the calf. and that time we lost a cow. But that's the bad part about it. I use a Black Angus bull. They've got a small head, so when they're born, they're easier to come out the birthing canal, even if it's a heifer. And some of our cows are pretty good size. They probably don't look like it, but they're pretty big. The pond that they were swimming in is the medium-sized pond. We've got one other one that's spring-fed that's smaller. Not a lot smaller, but a little bit smaller. And then we've got one that's massive. It's like 4 times the size of that pond. And they go to it in the evenings, and usually in the mornings they'll go to the one that you've seen them in. Sometimes they switch it about. And here lately we've had some hay hauled in, so they kind of stick around, looking for free hay to eat. But ours are gentle for beef cows. They're not pets. We've got 1 or 2 that's pets we raised on a bottle, but they're pretty gentle. The part where the cows are at, what's really weird is that 30 acres. When we were kids, me and Joe, which Joe's the one that got murdered in '82, my family leased that land, and they grew corn on it. And it was so funny. We used to, when we were little, we grew tobacco up on the top of it. But me and Joe Joe had a hill where Mark lives now. Mark's trailer's up on the hill. He used to say, when we get bigger, he talked kind of a little different. He said, he goes, when we get a little bit bigger, he said, I build my house up here on this hill. You build your house up on that hill, we'll be neighbors. And it was so funny. Before Joe got murdered, he built a barn, a big tobacco barn. And it didn't dawn on me. Years later, at the time we were kids, we didn't realize property ownership or anything. And so we just assumed, I guess that the family owned that land too. We didn't realize they were leasing it. Years later, it would come up for sale. And when it came up for sale, we bought it. Me and Mom went in together, partners, and bought it. Now, I did have a great big barn built up there. What they call straight line winds took it down. But when we were building that big tobacco barn, I looked over and I could see from the roof Joe's barn. And I thought that's so funny. Where we said we would build houses, one day we built barns. But it's strange. But the mountains in the front are the Smokies. The mountains, when I was up on the cows, one way was the Smokies, and if you turn the other way, you can see what's called the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is pretty cool. We ride motorcycle to Blue Ridge every now and then. It's about probably an hour's ride if we go scenic tour and take our time to the top of either mountain, whether it's the Blue Ridge Mountains or the Smoky Mountains, to the tip top of them. That's just taking your time. I spent today, took Mama for her PET scan, and got her car cleaned and oil changed while she was in there. Got the records for Denise. She has an insurance called Aflac that if you get hurt or you got a hospital bill, it pays so much. So basically, I get hurt, she gets paid. I hadn't figured out how that works yet. But anyway, I went over there and got those records and took to her where I'd cut my fingers on the lawnmower. Had 2 visits to the ER there. And we got back, then she wanted to go get some stuff to decorate more around the back. We're going to go tomorrow and take the dump truck, God willing, it makes it back and forth, and buy some white rock, provided it's not raining. We're real overcast today, sprinkled on and off. Our winters here, we'll have about 2 weeks that it gets way below zero. Sometimes as much as with the wind chill, 20 below. Most of the winter you hover around 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Just around the freezing zone. We had one winter where we stayed everything was frozen for 2 or 3 weeks. Summer times, it can get up over 100, and it's just real humid here. Normally, this time of year, we're dry as a bone. So our gardens here are more geared. We've geared them more towards dry conditions as opposed to wet, which this year kind of come back to bite us. Actually did come back to bite us. The banana plants, we don't have a long enough season to get bananas, but we've got a sunroom that we've never totally finished, but it's still heated and cooled, and we bring all the banana plants and anything tropical we bring into the sunroom, and we winter over. One year I had bananas, and it was the year I had chemo. I didn't take care of them, and they dried up, so we didn't get to eat a banana. I've never eat a fresh banana. We've got a lemon tree, and I've eaten fresh lemons, but never a banana. We can grow watermelon, but we can't grow like the big diamond watermelon, the great big huge watermelons. We just don't have the growing season for that, but we can grow like the Sure Babies, and we can grow some of the bigger watermelons. We just can't grow them as big, and only a few that ripen pretty quick. Muskmelons and banana melons, which I guess a banana melon is a muskmelon, cantaloupes, stuff like that we can grow real easy. Cucumbers, not a problem. Until it gets hot, they don't take the heat well. We can grow most anything, as long as it's got under like 100 and some odd days growing season. It goes past that, we're pretty much in trouble. So you gear everything to growing what grows best there. There's some beans that we love to grow, and they're hard as the devil to come by. They're called, that's my dog that's just crawled underneath the bed and growling because I've messed up the bed. There's one that's called Greasy Back, and they're grown in North Carolina, around where the Cherokee Reservation and all that is. They're hard to get your hands on, but they're really, really good. I like about any green bean. Denise she'll eat Greasy Backs, half white runners, peanut beans, and steak runners, which I don't like. There's another bean too, and I can't remember what. That may be it. Me, I like the rattlesnake. Never have eaten turkey crawl, but we can grow a lot of that stuff normally. This year, not a good year. It's just, I'm sure by now we're 20 inches in excess this year than normal. The lakes are just busting. I know these dams have to have a lot of pressure behind them. But I wear my glasses to see. When we filmed Beyond and Back, they asked me, they said, "Can you see without your glasses?" Well, I wasn't reading the script, so it really didn't matter how far I could see. And I can see decent. If I look at something close up, I have to take my glasses off. And like if I put it on right here, I can't even read my camera. Take them off, I can read it, but seeing far off, I have to have them. I don't know how that worked. It can be fixed with like bifocals and trifocals, and I even have a trifocal, and that is just freaky. I don't think I've seen like that since the 70s and all the drugs. But I'm not much of a fan of those. I'd rather look down and look at, a lot of times I'll have my glasses on and I'll just pull them down and look. I read the internet without my glasses on when I'm on the web. But this is nice here. I mean, now I've heard it looks a lot like Ireland. like I say, I've never seen. You hear a lot of people around here talk about, oh, I'd go to Jerusalem or wherever. You know, me, I would go to the UK. I think that encompasses Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. I would see that. I would see Europe. Could care less about seeing a Pakistan and a bunch of people fighting. That's just not my cup of tea. At all. But it's kind of simple here. Here now, I mean, I've lived most of my life at UPS. Like, I don't even want to watch anymore. At UPS, I lived by the second. I mean, when we trimmed seconds, we didn't worry about minutes. We knew if we trimmed the seconds. And I mean, God, you started out behind and you stayed behind, and you just. And the more we made, the more we spent, the more we spent, the more we made. It just became ridiculous. You know, we spent a lot of money on shit we didn't need. You know, stuff that we thought we couldn't live without. We live fine. Actually, more so fine. We come out of the trying to keep up with the Joneses is what they call it over here. We quit with that, you know. I mean, the grandkids, I understand there's a lot of peer pressure. You know, got to have a certain this, got to have a certain that, got to have a certain label of everything. But, and it is a lot like that, a lot with adults. I know we used to be like that. But, you know, car gets you from point A to point B. Shoes, as long as they're comfortable, although my best shoes are the ones that are made in England, you just get better quality. And jeans, I have yet to have anybody tell me whether I've got $100 pair of jeans on or if it's that $10 pair that Tractor Supply had on sale.